Day 18 of the Alex Murdaugh double murder trial is underway.
The judge decided to move forward with the trial despite two of the jury members being out with COVID-19. The disgraced South Carolina attorney, you'll recall, is accused of murdering his wife and son back in June of 2021. Prosecutors are questioning investigators about the night of the crime as they look to wrap up their case. CBS News national correspondent Nikki Battiste has been closely monitoring every aspect of this trial, and she joins us now here in the studio. Hey there, Nikki. It's so great to have you back from South Carolina. Tell us what we're hearing from as prosecutors begin actually winding down their case.
So today, right now on the stand, we're hearing from a SLED investigator, a state investigator who led the investigation. We were just watching some interrogation video where he's talking to Alex, and 2 points to note. He asked Alex Murdaugh, do you remember when you changed your clothes that night? Because we know he changed clothes the night of the murders from a cell phone video that shows him in a totally different outfit. He said, I don't remember. He also said his wife voluntarily came to the property that night. We've heard testimony that that's not the case. She was asked to come to the property. They have several properties where she ultimately was killed that night.
Now, Alex Murdaugh's sister-in-law apparently provided the first testimony from a close family member. And what's key here is she claims that he never had an interest in finding his wife and son's killer. What's significant about that, and what more did we learn from her?
Well, here is Maggie's sister. Everyone's worried about a killer on the loose. Who could have possibly killed Maggie and Paul Murdaugh? She said instead Alex worried about clearing her son Paul's name in this boat crash that happened in 2019. He'd been charged with driving a boat drunk, essentially, and was facing a trial. A young woman was killed. We also know that that trial would have revealed financial fraud by Alex Murdaugh, which the prosecution is claiming is part of the motive, that he was trying to buy time, which is why this boat crash keeps coming up. Maggie's sister also talked about their marriage. She said Alex and Maggie's marriage was good, not great. We heard about this. This is what jurors could not hear, the judge decided, but we did hear about an affair that Alex Murdaugh had 15 years ago, but her sister said it still bothered Maggie. And we also heard that Maggie's sister was worried about Alex and her surviving son Buster's safety until September. And in September, a few months after the murders, Alex Murdaugh ultimately admitted that he tried to fake his own suicide, asked someone to shoot him to make it look like a suicide so he could get $10 million in life insurance money for his surviving son.
Which is another crazy aspect that, as we shorthand this trial, we don't even talk about half the time.
And I just want to add that actually the judge decided this morning to not allow testimony about that incident into the trial. And a lot of viewers, a lot of the media was wondering if Curtis Smith, the man he asked to kill him, would testify.
Right.
So now we think he probably won't.
Well, speaking of people who may or may not testify, Alex himself might take the stand in his own defense. What are the chances that that might actually happen, Nikki? And is that a good idea for the defense?
So it was a rumor swirling around. I reached out to the defense team last night and said, is this really happening? And they said, it's under consideration. He might testify. We don't know yet. We haven't made a decision. Typically, it's really, really risky to put a defendant on the stand. And in this case, most legal experts say, look, there isn't a ton of direct evidence. There's no murder weapon. There's no blood evidence. There's a lot of circumstantial evidence. So generally speaking, it would be really risky. It's possible that Alex Murdaugh is insisting he takes the stand, and there's not a lot his lawyers could do about it in that case. But if he takes the stand, there'll be a lot of eyes watching.
When might we know? Either way, or it could be, who knows?
They've said, the defense has said they won't decide until the last minute. Typically, he would be the last witness they would call. So I think we might not know until next week. They expect to take about a week, and they should begin calling their witnesses Friday.
All right, Nikki, thank
Stay tuned.
you.
Yeah,
we certainly will.